Well, hi and welcome to my shop. Thank you for coming and keeping me company here. July 21st is the date. And hey, yesterday we had a tornado warning here where I live in Aurelia, but nothing materialized. In fact, we got a fairly heavy rainstorm, but nothing out of the ordinary in the end. So that was a little bit of excitement, lots of excitement going on. And what about this radio? So, yesterday I was working at doing I could call it the preliminary alignment of the RF circuits, the antenna circuits if you like. And right at the end, it seemed to me I was finding strong indications that the IF was not tuned properly. The reason, or the way I got to this conclusion, was feeding in a signal from the signal generator there. At frequencies well below, well, frequencies around the IF frequency, and finding a number of places or frequencies where the signal comes through the radio. I'm only expecting one at 470, but there seemed to be 4 or 5 spots all the way down to 400 kilohertz. So I could only conclude from that it must be the case that the IF is not aligned properly. Now, sometimes I do too many of these radios and I start getting them mixed up in my head. I believe I made some kind of a preliminary check of the IF a couple of days ago and determined it seemed to be pretty much bang on. So those two things are in big conflict. What is the truth? So that's what I want to find out. First of all, this morning, what is the truth about the IF in this radio? Is it tuned or not? So I think what I want to do is try to pass a sweep signal through the IFs and look at the result, and we'll kind of go from there. It's possible some of the effects that I was seeing yesterday was because I was driving too hard a signal into the radio. I don't think that's the case. I really don't. But I don't know. So I'm going to set up for a sweep and we'll take a look and see what we get out of that. Okay, so what I've done is I've got my sweep generator going up here. It's going to sweep from 400 kilohertz to 500 kilohertz. Not quite in the middle is the IF tuned frequency of 470, somewhere here. But I was getting peaks all the way along, different frequencies, no recognizable pattern or anything. I've got the oscilloscope connected to the radio, but also to the sweep generator to produce the sweep this way. That's how sweep generators operate. They produce a sweep that matches a sweep for the scope to operate with, and that sweep rate matches the variation in the output frequency of the sweep generator. Does that make sense? I don't know. Sort of made sense to me. Okay, the oscilloscope is connected between the plate and cathode of the output tube, which is where I was measuring the signal strength through the radio when I was doing the alignment using the voltmeter. I've just gone ahead and hooked the scope up to the same spot. Not sure if that's really the right place to put it. So we'll see what the result is and then go from there. So I think the radio is just about ready to go. Just make a quick check. All looks good. So we aren't doing anything with the fixed frequency generator here. We're just doing it. By the way, the scope is right there in case you're wondering where the scope image is really coming from. Well, that's the sound of the sweep. I'm going to turn it off for a moment here. And you can see it. Radio stopped. Okay, how to interpret what we see on the scope. I think one thing is, I've got the signal. Turn this down. Oh, gosh, that's not terribly helpful. So I've got this set to start at 400, but I remember there was a peak at 400, and I think that's what we're seeing right here. So I'm going to lower the start frequency for the. No, I didn't do it. Or did I just raise it? Well, apparently I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what this is. Okay, let's just do this. So now we're starting at, way down at 312, and we're going up to just under 500. Let's go up over 500. Okay, here we go again. Did I turn that up? Well, nothing much to see there. Let me tune the radio a bit, just see if anything happens. Oh my! What's going on? Well, what's happening here? Lots is happening. That's the broadcast band. This is the shortwave band. So the way I have this test set up is just not working at all. Because we still should see the same IF effects, I would think, but I'm going to have to change the way I set this up because it's not working. It's not working at all. Okay, funny results there though. Well, let's try a different scope spot. I'm way in the audio circuits with it here. This really doesn't make a lot of sense. I'll put it on the input to the volume control. Basically, the output of the IF is really and that's really what I'm interested in. If I remember right, it was right here. Did something happen on the scope? I wasn't looking. Okay. Now, sweep signal's going. You don't hear it at all because I tuned this radio to funny. So I think probably what's happening is if you tune the radio up high, the front end's probably suppressing the sweep signal. If you tune it down lower, it won't suppress it as much. Hello, oscilloscope. How come you're showing nothing? Got it set up. Not sensitive enough. Wow. Wait. What's going on? Okay. That didn't work. And we're on the short wave. No, we're not. This is tone control, Jim. That's better. Now we're getting some interesting stuff. So the reason the sound is ending is because whatever that peak is, that's right at the end there, is going beyond the range of the sweep. Well, I'm clued out here as to why it looks like this at all. I am clued out here. It must have been yesterday's bloodletting, as I'm low on blood now. This is not at all what I expect to see here. So just to be clear, this is 400 kilohertz and this is 500 here. So all these peaks are below the AM range of the radio. The radio's actual reception range starts up here somewhere at 530, 540. Yeah, that's the disappearing trick. So that doesn't really mean anything. What's happening? I could do this all day. Hey, what is it all about? So think hard about this. We're clearly hearing this because when it disappears, we don't hear it anymore. This is making it out to the audio stage. This is at the end of the IF. Well, you're really stumped. Yeah. I don't know what to make of this. I gotta stop and think some more. Okay, let's take a look with the SDR and see what it sees. Just add some more interesting observations. I'm going to use this pickup coil. This is going to the antenna of my SDR, which is the thing you're seeing here. And I'm going to just leave this on my bench, kind of out of the way for now. Let's take a look at what this guy sees here. Whoops. This very awkward way. There we go. It sees. What's the matter here? Oh, I know what's wrong. This is wrong. Here we go. Okay, so that's a typical display I see all the time in my shop here on the SDR. All kinds of noise signals out here. Things are relatively quiet down in this area. This is probably the local oscillator right here, but we'll tune the radio and see if it moves. No, that's wrong about that. Where is the local oscillator? Oh yeah, right, I got the pickup coil way over here. Let's put the pickup coil in a better place, closer to the back of the radio here. Oh, well, okay, now we know where the local oscillator is. It's just screaming out of there. You can see it moving as I tune. Just ignore what you see on here for now. Just look at the so I've tuned it down into the point where an oscillation starts up. We better listen to this. Weirdness starts up, and playing with my finger. Right in here, a signal popped up. Let's just tune back here. Oh, that's the sweep again. Let me expand the sweep, make it bigger here. What's this? No answer. This would have to be, just one sec here. So we're stopping around 600 right now. So this is 600, so this is around 500. There's two more here. Those ones move, but what is that? So when the sweep passes this point, there's something in the radio that always responds. As I just mentioned too, I'm running the radio at 85 volts right now with the dim bulbs on. So now that shouldn't cause any of these effects or change them, just make them weaker if anything. Okay. So it really shouldn't be the case that what we see here we can hear coming out of the speaker. What we're hearing is the sweep. What we're seeing is below the range of the radio for the most part. The radio's tuned way up at the top of the band. Just fascinated by all these weird behaviors. Well, I certainly can't look at this and go, oh, I know what that is. Because there's a lot there. Why don't we use the SDR? We'll zoom in on the IF area and see what's happening there. So that the IF area is 470 right in here. So we're going to zoom in on this area here. So we're looking at 470 is right about here. That's where 470 is. Now, I'm going to tune the radio. So what are all those peaks that are there? One signal came up right in here. Right at the end when everything goes wild. Now look at the output of the IF. And we're feeding in a swept signal. It's being mixed with the local oscillator. If there's a 470 signal, it comes out, the IF. If there's no 470 signal, we shouldn't see anything out the end of the IF. Oh my gosh, this is really it's probably the situation with the radio is probably quite simple. It's understanding the situation, which is very difficult for me anyway. Let's cut the power on the radio entirely. Well, doesn't that tell you a lot right there? So that's my SDR is picking up all kinds of interference. Maybe if I move the coil a little bit. Yeah, so here's the coil. Something down under my bench right in this spot here. So we're way better off up here. Let's see if I can more closely couple this. I would want to do that maybe near this tube. See anything. So the radio's actually not tuning anything in because the sweep is falling short of where the radio is tuned. So I'm going to make the sweep go way up higher, way up through the broadcast band. 1600 and starting at 540, starting just in the dial and going up past it. Let's sweep that and see what happens here. Okay, not looking at the SDR for a moment. Looking now up at the scope. So a couple things about this. First of all, I'm not surprised there's a response on the scope. I'm surprised that it's doing this. What is that about? There should just be one response curve, not like that. And then this weird thing's happening right in here. Bump here. That's by some chance a multiple of something happening right there. Multiple of what? There it is again. So here, the funny thing is around just under 1500. Here the funny thing is just right around 1000. And here the thing goes wild, and that's around 500. That's 500, 1000, 1500. That's an interesting pattern. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in the weird spot. I'm going to fiddle with the IF tuning a little bit, just to see what happens. Picking the second one, just kind of at random. It's not recommended that you do stuff like this, but I'm pretty sure I can. See, this just seems to peak the whole weird thing. I did do a test that suggested there's no problem in the IF. Probably barking up the wrong tree here. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was a little unexpected. Again, this is not the right way to do this. Maybe especially with a radio that's not behaving right. I'm just going deeper into nonsense here. Okay, the last screw to turn. Well, 4 screws, or 4 adjustments, one of them seemed to be just a mile out. So really is not the way to do this, but it's an interesting way of doing it. Okay, so this sweeping thing has not worked out at all. At least it hasn't revealed anything. Okay, what to try next? To kind of sort out what's going on here. Maybe I'm overloading the front of that radio. It's not. Let's cut it way back. Oh, that could have been all it is. Just overzealous here. Well, you wouldn't really expect that. A little hard to explain. Let's see, the volume is set. So the volume was very low. Now it's set. It's set. Oh, you saw my hand, so you have an idea where it's set. Fortunately, the output of the signal generator I'm using is low. Even at full blast, it's not very high. Well, the radio's still at 84 volts, so let's put it on full here. Oh, what was that? I know what that was. Okay, that was nothing. sure sounded like something, didn't it? I'll tell you what it was. I'm assuming you heard that little funny splashy click too. It was a little thing falling into one of these trays here. At least I think that's what it was. I thought it was the radio blowing up. Okay, I'm really losing it. I am totally losing it here. Now we're seeing more what we would expect. Except it just goes wild down here. A decoupling capacitor or something like that, not doing its job. Or worse yet, a wiring error in the radio, which would be a bad thing to be dealing with now. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit stumped here. I'm an awful lot stumped. So it would appear to me something really bad is going wrong with this radio. The performance is really bad in it. All these weird things happening. I think I gotta stop for a bit. Come up with a new. Okay, well, unfortunately I made a video mistake just now, and a whole little section didn't have the recorder going. So I'm going to explain what I've discovered here, because I have definitely discovered something. You can see this red clip lead going to the chassis. It's clipped onto pin number 1 of this tube. So this tube, this one right here, is a metal tube, but originally it would have been a glass tube in this radio. It's been swapped out for this metal one. The metal shell of the tube is a problem. Unless you do something, that metal shell is just sitting in the radio like an antenna, picking up radiations that are coming from the radio and from anywhere else, really. And because it's a metal tube right around the the works that are inside, whatever's happening in the metal tube is going to cause an effect inside. So you basically have an antenna hooked up accidentally to that tube. So the socket here is not designed for the metal tube. So pin 1 has been just completely skipped on the socket here, because the other tube may not even had a pin 1 in it. It may or may not have. May have had a pin 1 to nowhere. So not only is there not a terminal, there isn't even the socket part, that the tube pin goes into, that grabs it. There isn't even that. There's just a pin sticking out of the socket here, right from the tube. So I've clipped this onto it, this clip lead, and grounded it, because that's what you want to do with this metal shell. Needs to be handled, grounded. Normally is what happens with it. The ground is in place right now. So if you look at the oscilloscope display, you can see a little bit of hashy stuff here. I'm going to remove that ground. And you see, this is what happens when you do demonstrations. They never work. Now, did that get a little worse? It did not. So I'm happy. I so seldom make this mistake of missing stuff while I'm doing these videos. Son of a gun. So we tune the radio. You see the crazy spot here? Come over this way now. So you know what I'm doing. I'm grounding one metal tube. So when we get to the tune to the edge, everything goes a little crazy. Looking at the scope, I tune back, and the craziness goes away. Let's just get it to the start of the craziness. Now if I remove this, we're in the middle of the craziness now. I have the tune way up here for the craziness to go away. Now if I apply the ground again, there, that's, so you can see. So is this responsible for what is happening with this radio? Well, I'm using a long red clip lead right now, which is just also an antenna. So I'm not getting rid of everything I could get rid of if I were to make a very short circuit connection to that pin. But that's not the only metal tube in there. We know there's the one in the back that, careful now, that one, yeah, that one. Which one? Yeah, that one. 1 second. Okay, so there's this tube that somebody had already treated. This one here I'm pointing at. Well, there's another one back here. There's this metal tube here. Let's take a look at that. If I can handle my camera here. Okay, so I just accidentally unplugged the SDR, but we'll leave it. So the SDR is frozen. Just ignore it for now. So looking down here, that's the tube socket. I made a number of interesting observations there, which I will repeat now. Wait a second. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Move the camera, tug a wire. Okay, everything's okay. I'm losing control here. There's the socket down there. And I was looking for pin number 1. Is it also not tied to ground? And it is not tied to ground. So that's another metal shell sitting on top of a tube near the front end of the radio. It's got to be a problem. What I also noticed, though, when I was looking in there, is the screws that are holding the tube socket in. The screws are there, but there's no nuts on the screws. No nuts on the screws. And one screw is bigger than the other. So it looks like a junk box repair, really. So I'm going to wiggle the tube. Just watch that. Down there. Don't burn yourself now. Look, that thing is as loose as can be. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make proper grounds on those tubes. How I'm going to do it, I haven't quite decided yet. There's a bit of a problem here. You can just solder to the tube pin underneath. That'd be easy. But then the tube is kind of soldered in a little bit. If somebody comes along years from now and pulls that tube out with the soldered wire on it, what's going to happen there? So I have to think about that a little bit. And I don't want to do what I did to the other tube. It's not necessary. Which is put a little wire in. I did it. I won't get into it. I think that might solve most or all of these weird oscillation problems that are happening in the radio. I'm not sure though. It would also suggest that these problems were endemic in the radio right from the get-go, when whoever changed the tubes from glass tube to metal tube missed the need to ground the metal shell. From then on, the radio must have misbehaved. Okay, that's my plan, and I think that's the end for today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Today the weather is a little threatening of rain, cloudy. No tornadoes in the forecast. Okay, that's it for today. So thanks a lot for watching. Tomorrow, after I make these changes, we'll test the radio again and see if the wonkiness has gone away. Hopefully it has. Thanks a lot for watching. See ya.